So they keep this lane assignment for Tensai. Now he needs to retool his mindset to deal with this very annoying squeak. And does Moya get swapped out to the right side? Salty Barrel used already. Semantic starting to become a little bit of a bully on the right side, but Shitapo surges forth at just the right moment. But no gems have yet been picked up by Crazy Raccoon. Luki has 4 to his name.
Boss is doing great work on this left-hand side, but now the pinch is there between Moya and Tensai. Cleared up so immediately there. 4 gems for Humble, though they're playing a much better job in that mid-roll. Semantic and Luke hunkering down, the mute available there for Semantic also. And if he places it at just the right time, even a Pearl is going to go down so swiftly as Boss tapping that left-hand side, can now move forwards. He's got super to hand as well.
Mute connects, Shitapo under pressure. Semantic can 1v1 anybody with that super connecting. Oy, okay, Magic Hand gets the turret. They can now at least clear that out of the way. But Moya will have super available again soon. Semantic, all ships in the night. They run into each other, and he hit the mute somehow. Here's a countdown for Humble, and Crazy Raccoon are penniless.
How did Semantic manage to land that as opposed to the barrel? Nonetheless, Humble have got the lead, running back to the spot, but the gems are dropped. It'll be a reset. They've got to play it slow and patient. They get the gems back. The time is ticking away now, and Crazy Raccoon are getting some momentum.
Tensai just gets brought down by some of that squeak damage. Another hand to catch the turret that might actually be intentional, believe it or not. Shitapo moves up, hits that super. Luki goes down, 2 seconds left, and Humble keeps Semantic alive. Get down, Mr. President.
Humble just seem to have the ice in their veins. What a comeback. Beautiful adaptations. And the comparison was a night and day difference. They looked so weak and weary in that first game, not in it at all. Just turn things around to come out victorious in the first set. It's a huge advantage.
I mean, I wonder if Coach Kanan's had much to do with that. They had the Otis laning against Amber on the left side, did Humble, and Semantic was struggling. He was losing hard to Tensai. That all changed as soon as Boss stepped up and stepped into the left lane. All of a sudden, even Shitapo on Pearl couldn't deal with the Otis. And all of a sudden, Semantic took over the game. And this is great when you have multiple viable mid options on gem grab. You can make these adaptations.
That mute there was beautiful from Semantic. It would have put a lot of pressure on Humble to gain that last gem off the mid, and he would have lost the lane as well. I mean, look, when you look at the stats across the board, really, Semantic had a fantastic game. 279 DPS there. 9 takedowns over for Shitapo. But I gotta give a commendable shout out to Boss, because once he swapped to that left-hand side lane, he had to juggle 2 players on the side of Crazy Raccoon, and more often than not, he was holding his own. He was the rock on that left.
This is what we'd love to see. This composure from a team like Humble, who need to make a pretty huge change, wholesale, to their strategy midway through a set, and they managed to win it for themselves. Let's double back and talk about the penny pick, though. For me, that one's a bit of a miss for CR.
It's not my favorite. I've seen many teams kind of try it out and see how things fare, but I've got to be honest, it hasn't got the best win percentage, in my opinion, along the way. And again, with that Gene pick, you know, I like when I see a Magic Hand used for that turret. It really is a real problem that once it's taken care of, allows you much more space to maneuver. As we move in now to our second set. Hot Zone. Open business bands already in. Kenji Classimo and the Barriers, of course. We saw earlier today just how influential that was for Humble. Crazy Raccoon had to eradicate it. Combined with that Meg, SK Gaming had no opportunity. First pick a Gale, and not a bad one at that.
This is the kind of map is also where Nita makes her appearance at times, or other tanks. I mean, Daryl is still on the table. Can make that work. We've even seen teams try and play Rosa here in the past, despite the lack of bushes. We get a rowdy crowd today. I like it.
It's the best we've had in Brawl. I've always wanted to hear the crowd over my own voice. And today, and this whole weekend has been that time. It's like a rowdy football match. Surge comes in for Humble. I really do like this as the first Brawler pick. The range is great to have, but it's also a fantastic tank counter. And we've seen in Hot Zone just how influential tanks can realistically be. So if Crazy Raccoon were thinking it, they've now got to second guess themselves. The melody is still there though. We've seen that from Crazy Raccoon time and time again. Even Semantic himself knows firsthand how difficult it has been to shut down Shitapo when he has that brawler, Byron, coming in for Humble. great amount of heals, and that's what you need to have. It's all about the objective, and more heals means more time spent on that zone.
We saw Moya on this pick previously, up against Reply Totem, in a composition that didn't even really feature a tank that they were trying to back up. This is the kind of map where, you know, you become a pseudo-thrower when you have that super available, of course, as Byron. So you can shelter behind those walls and flip the fights on their heads with that super. Also, going back to Surge, he has the ability to jump over these barriers. They're thin enough that he can get into a fight and take you by surprise, pop a power shield. I warned you all at the start of this game, Max is where Crazy Raccoon find themselves in their comfort zone. They snapped it up here at pick 2.
Aggression, agility, and speed. Those are the 3 words that I would use to describe Crazy Raccoon. They've already gone in with such a wonder pick. One that has made Tensai famous across the world in Brawl Esports history. Definitely a troublesome thing for Humble to be looking at as Larry and Laurie come in as well. I mean, I'm really liking this. You've got the thrower for control. You've got the aggression of that Max to really lend a hand, the hypercharge as well. And Gale is a force to be reckoned with quite literally in this game. Have a trick up their sleeve here because this is a gnarly comp.
This is a short-range comp for Crazy Raccoon, though. That's one thing worth pointing out.
True.
Neither Max nor Larry and Laurie can really cover much of the map, and the problem for throwers here on Hot Zone is that they struggle to stand out on the point out in the open. The Frank pick, combined with the Byron, no less. That's a little dirty.
You know what, though? Watching Semantic play Frank earlier today, down the barrel of that Colette and just coming out on top time and time again. I have not seen Frank play this good on a world final stage. If Semantic, who I'm assuming is going to be on that Frank, can bring the same fire that we saw versus SK Gaming in Brawl Ball into Hot Zone versus Crazy Raccoon, I feel like we are going to be in for a massive treat.
Set number 2 will be Hot Zone, and Humble walk in with a 1-0 scoreline. Let's see how they navigate this with the Frank up against the Gale, and Semantic already cops an absolute beating.
Low HP, forced back. Luki already has super, though, he's been doing work. A nice phase shift there from Tensai to evade certain peril. As now, Crazy Raccoon starts to push forwards. A nice from the left-hand side from Tampo. Semantic low on 180 HP. He's got to come back a little bit. But Humble have done a good job of staying on that zone early on.
But Moya's able to move up on that left side. That's when Larry and Laurie gets really annoying on this map, when his team has control. Boss, gadget pop there. Doesn't actually have power shield in this particular game. Just wants to try and bank shots off those walls if he can. He's pretty healthy. And of course, with super up, has that invulnerability frame. Luki's done a great job keeping him topped up. Semantic has super here. He can start to break open the map, deny Moya's safe positioning. And there it is. Break it on open. Semantic now leaves Boss to get that capture percentage.
Hypercharge for Tensai and a nice takedown there. And Boss straight onto the zone. Is a team wipe. And Crazy Raccoon now can get hunkered down. It's going to be a very tough thing to push into a Gale with super as well. And Humble know it. They're going to recollect themselves very quickly and start to whittle down Crazy Raccoon gradually along the way.
You've got to avoid the spawn camp here. He gets a throw out, and you're dealing with a Gale super. Semantic suffers that. It's a hypercharge, in fact, so it comes in twice, and he cycles it a second time. That is terrifying. Boss still able to step up and fight. Great catch on Tensai. You almost had to, I tell you. Shitapo is low. He's had to be firing this whole time, and there comes a hypercharge super from Semantic. Gets him the 1, but Crazy Raccoon already have a distinct lead now.
Boss pushing through the help of Luki there with the huge heals out of there, but it's not even enough. A beautiful super there from Shitampo, and now Humble are really stumbling out of control. 84% for Crazy Raccoon, and now another takedown. They're firming him. There's only 10% remaining.
Yeah, the Laurie's a problem here. Humble have to deal with that. Boss takes far too much damage on the approach, and Crazy Raccoon bounce back from a slow start.
A solid game under pressure. As Crazy Raccoon start to dig deep. A great comp, one that I feel could very much win this set. But Humble have shown us already today against this very team. They have got adaptations up their sleeve. Well, now they need to start to bring that in to Hot Zone.
Semantic opted to bring a Frank here to a Gale composition. We have to wonder if he's regretting that at all right now. Super up for Semantic. Humble have gotten to 20% capture percentage to Crazy Raccoon's 8. Good lead.
Crazy Raccoon now pushing the speed coming through, but they are falling behind. 37 now, 40% for Humble. And Crazy Raccoon haven't had a single look and pushed back deep into the spawn side now. They've got to regroup. They've got to find themselves yet again and come back to the first game as Humble playing this far better than before.
Yeah, Shitampo needs to build some supers. He cycled them well last time, but Boss wins his fight on the right. Shitampo gets behind them, but he's stunned up by Semantic Super. And this is a massive lead now for Humble.
It's just, again, it's a night and day difference. I mean, Humble come in, they lose the game, but then they come back like this.
Lord.
8% is all that is there for Crazy Raccoon. They've got to really turn this entire game behind. They just can't do it. Humble are on the zone, 100-8. Crazy.
Moya just gadgeted into a Frank hit. He needed the healing, I get it. But he dashes in the direction of Laurie and puts himself in the line of fire.
Can Humble do it again? That's the question.
Mate.
It was a tough first game. I was surprised they were even to make that one look so convincing. They've got that early control. I think that's what it comes down to here. Semantic already tanking like 4 shots there from that Larry and Laurie. It's going to need more than just a couple of hills there from Lukey. Boss in the zone now, popping gadget. Does need, again, that support of Lukey, who's just doing his best to be everywhere in this game.
Much better early pressure here for Crazy Raccoon. Semantic can't play forward right now. Boss, though, wants to try and overwhelm. This is a lane switch here for Crazy Raccoon. The Moya eventually capitulates. The pressure from Lukey from mid was too much. And
Nice
Semantic brings down the Laurie. Boss has been out of his mind on this right side of the map, and Tenside's lucky to be alive after that shot came in. 42% to 9.
What's going on? The aggressive again. It's going to be cautious to not feed too much in there to Shitampo. As then Tensai comes in, lovely face shot, but Boss is still there. He is that rock. Semantic playing ring around the rosy there with Moya on the left-hand side. Laurie going over the fence and does find a kill. But again, Boss is there. 528 HP, but he's still locked in.
How's he alive? Lukey tops him back up, but Humble had to get off of the point for a time. But Semantic's back, and he means business. Tensai face shifts forward, but Boss is able to bring him down. Hypercharge available for 2 Humble players, and Crazy Raccoon are about to run into the wood chipper.
How can you push into 2 hypercharges? Semantic going straight into the eye of the storm.
90.
Gets the stun there, Laurie, and Lukey can just sit
95.
back and relax. Shitampo's going to come in with a lovely super book. Is it going to be realistically enough? There's only 2% remaining. Boss coming back in now, trying to get that stupid, trying to get on the zone, and Humble do it. They get the set and place Crazy Raccoon into a perilous position. Semantic, they're saying just one more.
Let's have a look back at some of these moments here. Awkward start for Humble. Crazy Raccoon able to get off to the races. Cycling supers from the Gale. Tensai, nigh uncatchable, unkillable in the middle part of the map. But eventually the lane assignment started to swing in Humble's favor. Here you can just see the pressure that Laurie can put down on you, but Boss really activated. Up on that right side, doesn't matter if it was Moya or Shitampo that he had to fight. He took on all challenges and came out on top.
I'm so impressed. I really am with Humble. Every time, every set, losing the first game, but learning so immediately, quickly against a team that are absolute masters of Brawl. It's scary stuff. It makes you feel like it could be another EMEA year. We still got plenty more still to go. But for Crazy Raccoon now, they are 2 sets down. How'd you come back from that? They've done it before, but can they do it again?
A reverse sweep in our grand final. That'll be almost too much to imagine. Last pick, Frank, for Semantic. He brings in, he says, I know there's a Gale here. I know I'm going to be under pressure. I know they have throwers, but Frank just so powerful. Can really open up the map. And all of a sudden, when you start to see those supers come through from Semantic, as the masonry starts to be destroyed, that's where Boss can walk up and start to be a real threat. We talked about the short-range nature of this Crazy Raccoon comp. That gets exacerbated when the map gets broken up.
It screams confidence. It says to me, you've got to ban this brawler. You've got to just adapt away from what is just like the hard meta and ban what I know that I can absolutely go to town on you with. He did it in Brawl Ball against SK earlier today, looking at that Colette and saying, I'm not worried. He did it again there against the Gale, saying, I'll do it again. And people don't learn. Crazy Raccoon banning the melody can only mean one thing, and that Humble have the coin toss. And this could be a bit of a nail in their own coffin. They would love to have got their hands on that melody pick. They would have certainly snapped it up as a first brawler pick if they hadn't been able to do so in that position. And Colette coming in for Humble, a beautiful first brawler.
Now in the past, in this tournament even, we saw Crazy Raccoon go for a crazy Bonnie pick on Safe Zone. Slightly different map, but a lot of the same principles do apply. Bonnie, pretty good at the poke down game, and of course can all in onto a safe and start attacking it up close. No surprise to see Colette here from Humble. It doesn't really tip their hand in any way. It's just a very good brawler. Another brawler that, again, can attack the enemy safe from a relatively safe distance and cycle those supers if any defenders are unlucky enough to get caught in the damage. Lola here, picked up for CR. Just a very, very good mid to long range brawler in terms of that damage output.
We already saw today, against Humble when Joker had 756 DPS damage with the Lola pick, and they still lost. It was crazy. I've never seen that much DPS in my life. Here it works a lot better. I can hear you with that Bonnie pick. Certainly the first thing I look for is to see whether the crew is banned, if that's the idea, and it is banned. It's a possibility here. The Crazy Raccoon, they're going to bring in the Kenji. A dangerous one for sure, and Heist. Is it his best game mode? I'm not massively convinced. I was surprised that Humble actually won that set earlier today with that very brawler. And it's one they cannot snap up now. Certainly, if Boss goes with Colt, I know we're going to be in for such a treat. And no one bans it against Humble. I still don't know why. Every time in Heist, they seem to bring it in, but this time going with the Bell. It's definitely that safe pair of hands. The mark going to be quite influential to land onto the Kenji. But is it going to be enough? It's not the best in DPS.
This is definitely a control-oriented brawler. Humble are assuming if Crazy Raccoon want to try and take up residence in the middle of the map in that grassy area, Boss can actually get some extra value as those shots will bounce between enemy targets that are within close proximity.
Certainly with the Lola, that's their thinking process there, is to simply use that ego and Semantic there maybe indicating about swapping lanes there as well.
The bell shots bounce between Lola and her ego.
Exactly.
8-bit here for Humble. Okay, this is an interesting one. I mean, a few different ways you can take this, but this really does scream to me, we want to set up shop in the middle of the map. We want to just dominate in the control game and then start to use Colette to pressure that safe down, use our safe long range, whether it's extra credits or, warp cartridge here from Lukey, or cheat cartridge, excuse me, remains to be seen, but nice way to round out a composition that had maybe questionable levels of damage output. Ah, the old faithful.
If that hypercharged turret lands onto the Humble safe, it will be decimated in seconds. The Jesse pick is a very strong one for Crazy Raccoon, but for Humble, they've just got to not feed into it and do their very best to avoid giving more power over to Crazy Raccoon. Not going to be easy to do with a slow and sluggish 8-bits. And that damage boost of the bouncing shots will go between the two. Without the plugged-in star power, we'll see what that 8-bit is bringing to the table. That's not the case. But it could be even more challenging to avoid feeding into that Jesse.
Okay, it's going to be cheat cartridge here. For this 8-bit, plugged in, also take it as the star power arc. Let's see how these lanes pan out. Chitampo getting kind of pummeled there by Boss. Gotta respect the 8-bit, and there's the damage booster deployed.
Tensai force back, and now it's the heal, but Boss comes in, and look at that! Tapping up so strongly in that right-hand side.
Damage?
Beautiful mark there from Lukey. The team play is unreal, and as quickly as that, Humble on the safe.
This is it. The set that Humble need to take to hold the belt aloft. Crazy Raccoon have decent mid-control if they can get there, but they've got to start to win some of these poke battles. Boss is down, it's the save. Moya has an ego up, but it's spaced back from the Lolas. We need to get quite close to get both shooting at that safe. Big damage here for Crazy Raccoon. And now they'll get ahead.
A lovely lineup there for Semantic to really line up the turret and some extra damage on that left-hand side. It made for a good defense, but it has pushed Crazy Raccoon into a small lead. Tampo forcing that left-hand side, but a nice mark hypercharge there from Lukey, and Semantic staying firm in position, looking to try to earn that hypercharge, of course. If he gets down to the safe, it'll be devastating. Tensei has hits. That's a huge concern for Humble, but they're going to be so cautious now on defense.
But this is what we talked about. Set up shop in mid-arc and be immovable. Crazy Raccoon haven't been able to unseat Humble from this part of the map. Boss was able to fall back. Semantic helps them bring Chitampo down. Crazy Raccoon to 51% on their safe. Tensai's got to dodge a whole lot of these shots. Lukey does fall, but here's some free damage for Semantic.
Goes in, uses it onto Moya. Not the greatest of connections, let's be honest, but enough damage to give themselves a little bit of a cushioning as we approach the 30-second mark, and Lukey is staying so strong on his left-hand side. bouncing his time between that mid, but Chitampo now lurking forwards, marked up immediately. The accuracy of Humble is great, but now CL can collect themselves and go in for a push.
Playing around that damage booster now. Boss obviously wants to make sure he benefits from speed, and we're switching into a defensive stance here for Humble. They want to try and pressure Crazy Raccoon down before they think to come forward. Mark on Chitampo, 10 side over the star power. Scrappy's hitting hard, 49%. It's getting low. Moya in a press. Ah! There it is.
Semantic.
3 seconds.
He's got it.
Gets humbled around the solo mission onto the safe with the Colette Super. And Humble are 1 game away.
The crowd is electric.
I'm the leader of the game.
Coming into this set, Semantic said 1 more set. And now it's 1 more game to take home the gold. Already a swift eradication of Tensai there as Chitampo and Moya left all alone. And these marks from Luki, we gotta talk about them. They're landing every single time on that Kenji, time and time again. And there's the thorn in the side of Crazy Raccoon.
Have we ever seen a debut from a rookie on the world stage like this? He has been incredible over the course of the weekend. Semantic though, it's a whiff off that super. Still shielded up enough. Moya definitely has to respect this. Has to watch out for the bouncing damage from Luki. Tensai struggling against the 8-bit. Takes the tap and Boss finishes the job. Chitampo also quite low here. Luki playing from inside that damage booster means the Bell is a legitimate threat. Another ego that's going to be short-lived as Moya has to throw them so far away from himself.
It's just a matter of time before Boss will pick him up. Semantic as well, turret into the mid for Tensai. You need to be saving that ready for the safe. Semantic now just going to use that onto the 3 shots that he's able to obtain. Gets the 10%, gives Humble a small lead.
It's a narrow one, 6% here. Crater Raccoon starting to posture towards Humble's safe. Boss is down, Moya's a problem here. Has another super available, so the damage output will be dastardly. Semantic just wants to play around the wall here. Boss back off respawn, but the Kenji in the left is a problem.
Tensai has got hypercharge as well, but Luki finds it.
He's
gets
down.
the follow-up as well. The taps are on point, and now Boss coming forwards there. Not going to be popping Gadget just yet. Wants to reserve it slightly.
They're ignoring
Remember,
him.
Chitampo is on the safe. He is marked up, and he is getting consistent damage
Luki.
in for Crazy Raccoon.
Crazy Raccoon are ahead now. The Kenji gets to have his way with the safe and brings Luki down. Humble have got to respond. Super there from Semantic onto the safe for Crazy Raccoon. A slim lead here for Humble. Luki has a second bite of the apple. Still trying to get this Kenji out of the way. It's even at 67 apiece.
A nice takedown there from Boss, and he kept his own life in the process. Not an easy thing to do there, as Semantic was low himself and couldn't necessarily tank. Good taps to the left-hand side. Moya low now, forcing out the ego, but the ego goes down so quickly. Great mark again from Luki, popping the hypercharge, and they secure the right side of Tensai.
Here we go.
Semantic going in, nice hypercharge and some great damage along the way. The time is ticking.
11 seconds left in the game. Chitampo has to go for a super to dodge a shot, but Boss is going to be there at Tensai with a hyper. No turret to use. Humble, 50%. Crazy Raccoon have fallen short. And here we have 3 Humble guys who just happened to be the best Brawlstars team in the world. Such a phenomenal performance from Humble this year. Just unreal. The fist pumps and the respect. A wonderful performance. Staying modest keeps you grounded, but being victorious cements a legacy. As they approach the belt, to lift it, and Humble are your Brawlstars World Champions!